Redditors dating a twin, what's it like? Do you find yourself attracted to the twin in the same way, and if so, how does that affect the relationship? Not really attracted to the other twin. They might look kinda similar, but to me I just couldn't see myself with anyone else, let alone my girlfriend's sister. We're both twins, so it's not really that weird emo tongue. We're basically a normal couple for the most part. We chat, spend time together, etc. I know him and his brothers, one twin and one older brother, all look alike, but he's mine. Also, I've seen a picture of his brother, but it doesn't invoke the same feelings and emotional attachment I have to my boyfriend. So it doesn't really affect our relationship. Please tell me that your twin is dating your BF's twin. If two sets of twins date each other, do their kids end up being like nearly siblings biologically? I'm a female married to a twin. They look incredibly similar, but I can absolutely tell who is who. I always found my husband to be more sexy, but I naturally find my brother-in-law very attractive, as well. That's never messed with me, personally, but I'm more relational than physical. The one thing I'll say is that I'm absolutely more close with my husband's twin than any of my other in-laws. We're like siblings. I always joke that most men end up marrying their mothers, but my husband ended up marrying his brother. I'm very similar to my husband's twin. As a result, we're best friends. Sometimes I feel closer to one twin than the other, sometimes things are very evened out. The thing is, they're both so close to each other that I'm going to be close to both of them no matter what. It's nice. While I am totally more romantic with my husband, it is this lovely friendship sandwich that gives me so much security and peace. I love it. More romantic implies that you are still somewhat romantic with the other. Please provide details. I dated an identical twin for 2 years. Basically, as soon as I really had feelings for my ex, they no longer looked alike at all, but I wasn't attracted to the brother in the beginning because they had such different vibes. Weird thing was, and I knew it from the start, that his brother would basically be the one to end it for us. He told me when we started dating, "You will have to share me with my brother," which I expected. They were twins and roommates and best friends. We designed a house with a granny flat on the property for him and everything. As soon as we started talking marriage, his brother and I stopped getting along big time. I heard them fighting through a wall towards the end, and he basically just started saying crazy, mean, awful things about me. If we had kids, I would disappear, or that because I went to therapy for AD I must be crazy. That I would steal all of his money while on deployment. Ironic, given that brother was partially financially dependent on my ex. It didn't bother me, as I knew that he was an artist and his brother was extremely supportive of him. I dated a twin in high school. I definitely got the more intelligent and better looking one. This was over 10 years ago. I know a couple of identical twin sets where there is clearly a better looking one. Like, ouch. I knew a set of twin girls from elementary school to college. One is a cup size larger than the other. The other is not amused. I'm an identical twin. I asked my girlfriend this, and her response is that while we look alike, once you know the person, there is a whole world of differences. While I'd say my brother and I are alike, we're definitely not the same. To put a spin on this, I am in no way attracted to my brother's wife. She's not a horrid person, just not someone I'd want to spend my life with. Did several years ago. You feel attraction to them, it's natural. It isn't too hard to control yourself, however. They have their own life and you have yours. And after a few months you figure out the difference pretty easily. One time, they tried to trick me, and I knew it in about 5 minutes because I brought up our date plans the next weekend and she became dodgy and skittish. I asked if they were trying to screw with me and she said no. I then started to make flirty advances and she immediately admitted it. I went to the doghouse for a while for hitting on her sister. What if she had let you? I guess that's your fault to try and play a trick. Greater than I went to the doghouse for a while for hitting on her sister. What if she had let you? That's the risk they took by playing that prank sucker. Used to date a twin, and no, not really. They were quite different people. As someone else said, there is always differences in how they look, and their personalities were very different in a lot of ways. They even had different voices. Obviously physically they look very alike, but it's just not a problem. I did once idly wonder if their penises were really the same size. But not out of actual desire to find out, definitely didn't, just curiosity, you know? Funnily enough, never found this out. Twin here, me and my twin brother have the same size. Thank you for your good work, sir. I contemplated asking my boyfriend at the time if he'd ever checked, seems like the kind of thing he'd also have done, but I didn't want him to think I was trying to ask for a threesome with his brother or something, so I refrained. Nah, her twin's underage, so that'd be weird. Yes officer, this comment right here. I do not find my GF's twin brother attractive. I'm male and I can't tell you how many times in my life I've been asked if my twin sister and I are identical. I was once asked if my twin brothers are the same age. No Laura. One's 8 and the other's 10. The thing about twins is that, once you get to know them, they sort of stop looking alike. I mean, they're similar, but environmental factors over the course of their life and changes in facial expression generally make it pretty easy after a month or two to tell twins apart. You'll probably find the twin attractive in the same way as any other attractive person you happen to see. It's not like that stops happening once you're in a relationship, but you're not gonna get your wires crossed or anything and be confused into thinking the twin is your partner. Totally true. I grew up with twin uncles and I didn't even know they were twins until my preteens. The more time you spend around twins, the more their behaviors and mannerisms become more apparent to the point where they don't even have to say anything for you to know who they are. Twinkles. My husband has a twin sister who is basically a sphere with hands and feet. Also she doesn't shower regularly. Also she's in a cult. No brainer, really. What kind of cult? A sphere cult, no place for squares, move along. It's horrible. I met my girlfriend's sister for the first time and I legitimately thought I was looking at my girlfriend. She was at work at the time. The next day I saw one of them washing dishes after I'd only just woken up. I had to sit down and ambiguously say good morning, how'd you sleep? Rather than offer some potentially unwarranted affection. I later learned that my girlfriend's sister had a slightly bent nose, helping me tell them apart. I say had because both have had nose jobs recently. They're equally attractive, but I do love my girlfriend and only think of her intimately. Do you actually know which one you think of intimately? Sounds like you can't be too sure. Omglamau. My son was engaged to an identical twin for several years. Both girls sounded exactly the same way. It was kinda weird. I'm a twin and mother to identical twin boys, and one of the ways I can tell mine apart is when they speak, though there are other ways you can tell. My son's GF and sister though were very tough to tell apart. So you have a twin, your mother of identical twin boys, and one of your sons, I don't know if it's one of the twins, was engaged to an identical twin. Twinception. My great-grandpa was an identical twin and we married a set of identical twins. The twin is a guy, so I think I'll be alright. Famous last words, D. Dated a twin in college. I could tell a difference almost immediately. I met her sister before I found out she was a twin and thought you look exactly like GF, but something isn't right. Also once I got to know her sister, found her extremely annoying. Why was she annoying? Dating an identical twin. It's a bit weird sometimes if they're together. It's like a more intense siblings together thing, because it is, though I've never been that close to my own sibling. But I'm getting reasonably good at telling them apart, and I don't really find his twin attractive. Pretty sure the one I'm dating is the fun twin. Greater than it's like a more intense siblings together thing, because it is. Yes. This is exactly it. When my twin brother and I are out together with our husbands, it's only a matter of time before one of the husbands says, they're doing their twin thing again. It usually happens when one of us says one word or makes one facial expression, and the other twin cracks the hell up. My wife is an amazing person who I love with all my heart. I could happily throw her twin sister down a well. With how positive your comment sounds, I thought that throwing her down a well was some kind of slang for dating her. Now I realize I'm dumb and you really mean throwing her down a well. I'll add throwing her down a well to the list of euphemisms along with bend her over a barrel and show her the 50 states and put the pussy on the chain wax. I dated a twin and I was incredibly attracted to her. When I met her twin, I didn't feel the same attraction. They were identical, but her sister dressed completely differently, wore more makeup, and styled her completely differently. I think she dyed it too. Also, their personalities were very different. Mixing them up or liking the other one was never a thing, or even close, because she wasn't my GF, if that makes sense. She didn't have all the same qualities as my GF. Did I think she was objectively pretty? You betcha. But I think that about a lot of people. I'm an identical twin. My brother's girls typically dislike me immensely. Same here. Gotta love it / inventors. I am dating John, who has an identical twin, Justin. Justin is as physically attractive as John as they look very similar, but Justin is severely depressed, which is chicken / egging his non-functional alcoholism, no showing for work 1 to 3 times a week, and hobo tier hygiene and grooming habits, showers maybe once a week, beard looks like John's pubes, so no, not attracted to Justin. I view him as a brother and I have tried to help him, get him help, and also get him to want to get help, but nothing John or I have done seems to remove him from his drunken stupor for very long. My relationship with John has suffered since progress in a relationship is hard when one's emotional energy is being consumed by a brother child hell-bent on drinking himself to death. I'm married to an identical twin. They're so identical that they can open each other's phones using facial recognition. We all lived together when my husband and I were dating, for about 5 years. I can honestly say that I was never attracted to my Bill. I love him like a brother, but his personality makes me see him differently. It's hard to explain, but when you really know someone you kinda stop seeing their physical appearance and see the real person. However, I did once go up to my Bill from behind and started rubbing his back and grabbed his ass before he turned around in shock and asked what the hell I was doing. It seems that improvisation isn't your Bill's forte, huh? Ha ha. Guess not. If he would have been patient, I was about to reach around. Married to a twin. They're not identical, so there's no weirdness there. Also, I really can't stand the twin for more than an hour or so at a time. They are very, very different people and I scored a good one. In college, I dated a girl with an identical sister. Her sister was actually probably more conventionally attractive in the sense that she always had the cold, callous expression we associate with a model on a runway, but this isn't exactly my type of person, so I found the twin objectively good looking, but I found my girlfriend to be hot. Also, the girl I was dating was a kind and wonderful human being that I felt magnetically drawn to every time we were in the same room, while her sister was just awful, and also never liked me. It only was a couple weeks in before I could tell them apart easily. Among other major tells, they had different gaits and different ways of speaking. I remember walking into a party they were hosting at their apartment. I was a bit flustered about something or other, so I wasn't paying close attention. I smiled warmly and said hi. At the first girlfriend-looking person I saw, but it was the twin sister. I still remember the look I got. It was like being tasered. I once dated a girl who had a twin. People kept asking me how I could tell them apart. Easy. Jill paints her nails purple. John has a dick. Twins Basil. Funny story, all the way back in middle school 6th grade I dated an identical twin knowing he was a twin and he was actually my first kiss. I broke up with him and after a year we were friends. A couple years later in 9th grade I started dating his brother and both were fine with it. He's older by 2 minutes, brother was my first time so it kinda came full circle. I once jokingly said to his brother, I know what you look like naked. Now that I have twins I worry for their dates. I can't get over how your username is spelled wrong. It's incredibly difficult. My unbridled lust for her brother knows no bounds. Similarly, I knew a pair of brother-sister twins that looked extremely alike, and were blessed with that Tilda Swinton supermodel androgyny. Their motto was pushing people towards the center of the Kinsey scale. Sometimes I kiss the mirror mistakenly thinking it's my twin.